Yo, so many pairs of hands in the air look like we holding up the sky. Yo, as if the sky was falling. But no, it's not the sky's falling. We as a culture is falling, dropping like flies, no metaphor intended. Police in the streets shooting down intentionally, no mystery. Because you see the light in your skin, I mean the darker your skin, the more likely you too can become a target. It's that simple. Because you see, the system got to eat and they starve. They starve before our melanin, just like a simple bottle of water for those in Flint, Michigan, now Mississippi. My prayers go out to them. You see, the black man, original man, founders of civilization, we create the power in every nation. So when they kill us, it creates dehydration and documentation amongst the next generation. Energy, 11 elements seduced from the earth is a lecture the way they crucify us through our own music. But you see, we the ones that let them do it. I'm looking around like, man, where they do that at? Where they do that at? Only in America. Only in America, my Don King voice. It's crazy how we went from representing royalty to jealousy for one another. But
the world has a weapon, a gun, a bomb, some type of weapon of mass destruction. Well, we have a sword, which is the word of God, which is more powerful than any weapon of mass destruction. So that's what War Cry is all about. It tells you who we are and whose we are.
I love it.
Yeah.
Man, you better support Tony. You know why? Because I said it. The Chicago Bridge Magazine. Because he said it. Because he said it. So what was that experience like, man, when you got out, you know what I mean? You put the book together, you know what I'm talking about, this book right here. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, sir.
This is where you stand for me, man, you know what I mean? So I sure
What
appreciate
date?
it.
What did I sign that? 10, 12, 15. Woo, that's a long time ago. That book is a classic.
Yeah.
You might have had one of the original books.
Peace and blessings. Hey, I definitely want to welcome everyone back for another great episode of Celebrity Interviewer. I said it, and this is the show, and this is where we bring you the best interviews from people from around the world, people that's in media, people that's building the community, along with people that's entertainment. And we have some very exciting experts today as we're going to be discussing Black architecture and home design in America. And as you see, I have my lovely celebrity co-host next to me, the famous Gena Heelz, representing Memphis, Tennessee. You know what I mean? She just actually made her way back from the Super Bowl red carpet. So I'm glad that she was able to make it here today. You know what I mean? She's been traveling. So as you see, she's still in motion right now as she's driving and trying to park. Don't she look lovely? With that being said, hey, we got some really exciting guests. I'm talking about people that are experts in their field. But first, let me just remind you also, we do have a third co-host today. Not only myself being, I said it, along with Gena Heelz, representing Life and Entertainment TV. We also have my brother G Holla representing Atlanta with My Celebrity Life is the name of his company. He'll be in soon. With that being said, let me just start bringing in our guests because they're waiting patiently backstage, and they're very important people in this industry, and they're helping to build America. So I don't know, Gena, if you got a second, if you want to say something before I start bringing everyone in, you on mute.
Hi, you guys. Thank you so much for having me on this wonderful show. I look forward to interviewing your guests. Thank you for considering Life and Entertainment, and I'm just super excited to be here. Thank you. I said it, management. Big shout out to you and your company.
Oh, you already know it's one love all day. Yes. So with that being said, let me just go ahead and start bringing in our guests one by one. As always, ladies first on my platform, so you know how we roll. So first, I want to bring in. She is registered Illinois registered architect. She is a registered interior designer and National Organization for Minority and Architects. And it's my pleasure to first bring in our celebrity guest, Miss Khemberliegh Brittan. So, welcome to the show, Miss Khemberliegh. Peace,
Thank you,
Queen.
thank you. Great to be here.
Yes, absolutely. It's definitely a pleasure to have your presence, and thank you for just making time today to be able to speak about, the field of architecture and home design today. Um, so first, let me go ahead and bring in our next guest. You know, I want to introduce Michael Buster, who is an architectural designer, real estate developer, senior construction project manager, and a serial entrepreneur. So, with that being said, welcome to the show, Michael
Good
Buster.
evening. Good
Welcome to the show,
evening. How's
sir.
it going? Thank you.
Peace,
Thank you,
King.
sir. Glad to be here. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Peace and blessings.
absolutely, man. Thank you so much for your time and just donating the information that you're going to be sharing today about architecture. Now,
Yes, sir.
last but
Yes, sir.
never least, I want to bring in our last guest, who is actually trending online right now. You're definitely familiar with his face, and he is an investor. He is a real estate developer, architectural designer, and the CEO of 3D Visions. DaMichael Jenkins, welcome to the show, brother.
What's happening?
Yes, sir. Peace to you, King.
Appreciate
Appreciate you, man.
it.
Appreciate your time and yeah, everything like that, straight like that. Yeah, man. So, man, it's a really important show we have here because this is something that I feel like a topic that people don't speak on enough. And obviously, I was on Michael's page on Instagram, and that's how I was introduced and reminded about how important this topic is. And then that's how I had pleasure of meeting Khemberliegh, and then through there, the power of the universe. Michael introduced me to Mr. Jenkins. So I love how everything just continues to come together organically,
Mhm.
and we have my friend Gena here, and it's just gonna be a great conversation. So um, if I could, I want to kind of start with everyone just kind of introducing themselves and how briefly how people can follow you and support your platform, your business, company, etc. So if I can start with Khemberliegh, and then we're gonna snake around, go down to Michael, and then go down to DaMichael. So Khemberliegh, please, if you could just reintroduce yourself and tell the people how they can support your platform and your business.
Sure. So my name is Kimberly. As was said, I work at Jack Corp Architectural Firm, spelled JAQ. We are a boutique, a platform that you could reach me at is Instagram is K_BRITTAN. And what was the other part? I forgot what you, or is
Yeah,
that
just
enough for
basically
right now?
yeah, no, just kind of briefly your background. I did say the titles that's listed on the flyer, but still, if you like to just add anything else, because I know you have a long bio, respectful bio, and there's more things
Yes,
that I didn't add to the flyer. So if there's anything else you'd like to add, and again, how people can just support your business.
of course. So I went to undergrad at Indiana State University, pursuing my degree in interior design. And there I became a member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. I moved on once I realized that I wanted to pursue architecture. I went to get my master's in architecture and a master's in construction management, uh, civil engineering at the University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign. I graduated from there in 2016. I thought at first that I wanted to go somewhere warm, move south, but I found myself gravitated back to Chicago and began working at a mid-sized firm. I learned quickly that I wanted to have more involvement in all of the aspects of the built environment. And so I started working for a smaller firm, and I've been working at smaller firms as I prefer having my hands on a lot more of the process, and it has allowed me to learn at a much more rapid pace, I think. And so it's been a really great experience. I'm also a mother of two toddlers. Um, homeowner, landlord. I have a few buildings, so I have continued to find ways to incorporate architecture and interior design within my personal life, and then also do a lot of mentoring and outreach through programs that I was funded through scholarships back when I was in school, and my involvement with NOMA, which is the National Organization of Minority Architects. So I'm been really trying to find different ways to use my skills and share my skills with my community and my surroundings while also pursuing my passion. And so it's been a very exciting and very interesting time as I'm in this transition of balancing this professional and my rearing children, balancing all that together. It's been really, really fun and very interesting.
Wow. Hey, that's lovely. And peace to your family. And again, just a big salute to everything that you've been doing and all your hard work and education. And I love it. Really straight like that. With that being said,
Thank
thank
you.
you for sharing. Thank you so much for sharing. I want to move on to Mr. Michael Buster. And please, sir, if you can do the same thing and just, continue to share, information about your business, kind of your background, and how people can support your platform, please.
Definitely, definitely. So I'm Michael Buster Jr. I can be reached Instagram, and I'm new to this as far as the social media. The Penny, PENNY underscore DA underscore one is my Instagram. I have been blessed with the privilege to be second generation. My late father was actually one of the first Black architects here in
Mm,
the state of Texas. So
mm,
I actually got architecture really like firsthand. I'm an architectural designer because I never, salute to all of my Black colleagues that actually have gone all the way through and got the AIA testing and made it all the way through. That it's nobody understands how hard it is to go all the way through and get the license. Now, I happen to be in a very unique position because of my late father and all of the surroundings to where I've been mentored by literally three Black architects within a 10-year period. I've been in architecture since 2005. So we're talking about 20 years. So I've done
mm,
everything from not only design, but construction administration to construction management, project management. Our firm actually happened to be one of those firms that was a minority disadvantaged business enterprise here in Texas. So we actually had the opportunity to partner with Gensler, which happened to be one of the largest architectural firms in the world when it came to their minority participation for a lot of work. So I've been able to get a lot of experience there. Personally, I've done a lot on my own in reference to real estate development, luxury home design. We talk about houses that are, 8,000 square foot and bigger. I am a serial entrepreneur as well. I got five kids, three boys and two girls, and I'm raising those boys up to follow the same footsteps and just trying to bring awareness because a lot of people really don't understand what goes on behind the scenes in architecture and development and design and understanding it's literally at the pinnacle of our community because without architecture we have no infrastructure, we have nothing. And I've unfortunately been seeing the decline of our professionals going that route, which is one of the reasons why I literally I do so much. I do rehabs in our community as well, where I redesign and build those from a not just a flip standpoint, but actually I go in and redesign it, give it some architectural flair. But just wanting to bring awareness to our community that without our people moving forward into that, then we're not going to have, it's not going to be us in these spaces to be able to aid. It's going to be really hard going down in the future to be able to build anything. Because when you get to professional services and professional service fees, and it's a lot people don't
mm.
know. So hoping to want to bring awareness to that. And not trying to be long-winded, but that's just the short of what I've got for right now.
Okay, absolutely, man. Thank you so much for sharing. Big salute to everything that you're doing. Peace to your family. And man, thank you just for sharing that information. As we want to move on to our last, third, but never the least guest, and that will be DaMichael. Please, sir, if you can also share your experience, some of your background, and your business affairs. And I'm sorry, you're on mute right now.
All right, here we go. Yeah, I'm DaMichael Jenkins. You can reach me on Instagram at 3D Visions _. That's 3D Visions with a Z. You can email me at 3dvisions25@gmail.com. So I am a real estate developer, investor, and architectural designer. I started investing in real estate back in 2016. And I actually am a self-taught architectural designer, along with Michael. We call ourselves architectural designers because we haven't went through the steps to actually get the license, but we are equipped with the talent and the skills to actually do architectural designs. So I actually discovered my architectural design talent through designing my own projects that I actually invested in, design from scratch. And I just got a lot of feedback from everybody that came to my job sites, asking me who designed it. And once I tell them it's me, they don't believe me. I have to tell them twice. So through a few projects I did, I started diving deep into architectural designs and being self-taught on softwares and things of that nature. And I actually dove into some 3D rendering as well. And that took me into the new development space because I knew that there was a cap when it comes to fix and flip, cosmetic flip, wholesale deals, and stuff like that. So I have experienced a lot of sectors in real estate, from creative financing to fix and flip, BRRRR strategies, a lot of strategies that people do out there. And I primarily now I focus on single family new construction. Particularly modern luxury homes is what I like to focus on. And I like to mix my architectural skills into the single family development space. Also, what I'm focused on now is educating my community and my people how to actually get into new development, how to buy land, how to analyze land, how to structure a deal, and how to actually execute building from the ground up is one of my main focuses right now. So that's pretty much what I got for you right now.
Okay, absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing all of that as well. Just it's very important for us to just know what your background is before we really get deep into this conversation. Just respectfully, G Holla, he came in during the time when one of you all were speaking. So I want to bring him on the screen real quick to introduce you to G Holla.
Cool. What's good? What's good? Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. How you all doing?
Doing well, doing well. Good evening, good evening.
Yeah.
Cool.
Absolutely. And can you remind them, your background and where you representing today? Because we all over the country right now.
Appreciate that. Sorry for cutting you off. I'm G Holla of My Celebrity Life show. We're airing on Roku TV as well as Amazon Fire and different streaming platforms all across the internet. Currently, right now, I'm located near Atlanta, Georgia, in a city called Augusta, Georgia, which is actually the home of James Brown and where they played the Masters golf tournament, where Tiger Woods won a few times back in the day.
I love it. I love it. Straight like that, man. Thank you, man. Again, appreciate your time, brother. Big salute to you. Thank you for sharing your time so we can celebrate these Black experts in architecture today. You know what I mean? And Gena, if you still there, please, real quick, tell them again who you are and what city you represented today.
Hi, everyone. I'm Gena Heelz of Life and Entertainment. I represent Memphis, Tennessee. I have a digital distribution. I'm on Comcast 17. I also air every Saturday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Um, I pretty much work with mainstream media and national syndicated networks as far as providing them with services as far as exposure to their businesses.
Yeah, absolutely. Big salute to you, and thank you so much, Queen, for being here today with us as we celebrate these beautiful people today. So yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, so hey, let's jump right into this. Like, just like I'm not gonna hold you all anymore. You know what I mean? There's people that's watching and they're anxious as I am excited as well to just learn more about architecture and kind of like the reasons why it's so important. You know, when it comes to developing America, you know, it's been said that, you know, we built this country, right? And so, you know, in hindsight, when it comes to building and the it's many, it's like they say, it's levels to this. So, you know what I mean, what would be like the first steps of developing, you know, when it gets to when it comes to architecture, home design, what would you all say in your opinion is like the like the first stages in your particular role that you represent? And I'm just gonna, you know, kind of call you out, I guess, you know, Michael. You know, what would be like the first stage?
Okay, you're going straight to me, right?
Yeah, straight to you. You, since you
Yes,
have the most experience, respectfully.
and where it starts, it always starts with our professionals. The biggest problem that I have seen with our people is when they look out to do any type of development or anything, they may seek out the internet, they may, look online, but ultimately you have to go to your professionals because before you even buy the land, you have to go to a professional because you're gonna, with development, anything that goes along those lines, you're gonna have architectural engineer, you're gonna have civil engineer, you have geotechnical engineers. All of these guys are going to be involved in the process of any development. So that's probably the biggest component before you go and research anything is you go get some consultation from a professional. And I think that as a people, we sometimes have a problem where we see our Black professionals and don't realize that um, sometimes after that initial consultation, those fees can be very high, but those fees can save you down the road several hundreds of thousands. And I can just literally give you a personal scenario where the state, I live on a state, the lot next to me is unbuildable, unfortunately, because it happens to be in the floodplain with a lot of other factors that are involved. I probably get on a month-to-month basis 10 people coming to look at this lot because it's priced very cheaply. It's been on the market for the past 8 years. And I actually have to go out and educate them because they get so excited for the price. I say it means nothing to get something for a good deal that you can never build on and that you're stuck holding. So that before you start anything is look into your design professionals. That initial consultation will actually guide you a lot further than looking online because every state is different. Every state has different architectural laws in Texas versus all these other states. So that's where when it comes to development, the first thing is seek out the wisdom of those people who have been in the field doing it, and that's what they do.
Okay, okay, absolutely. And then Miss Kimberly, you know, if you can speak about, you know, what your role would be as a licensed architect, I'm sorry, Illinois registered architect, you know what I mean? And I understand like Michael just said it's different city to city, different sanctions and codes and things of that nature. But when it comes to you, you know, what would be one of your most important roles when you come in to the project?
Sure. So first, let's clarify. So while I'm licensed in Illinois. Architects have the ability to get reciprocity from any of the states in the US. So while I'm only licensed in Illinois, there are many architects that have multiple licenses in many different states. And I won't get too much into that, but you can always ask. So the first thing that most clients do is they come to me with the vision of what they're wanting to do. And I'll ask them, do they have a location in mind? They'll let me know where the location is. And we'll start to compile, if we're starting from the beginning, because sometimes projects start at various stages. but we're starting from the beginning. We'll get together that scope of work and what they're wanting from me, and then I gather my team or use my own resources to identify when the site is selected, what the zoning codes are, where depending on where we're at, what those building codes and zoning codes are as a base. And if I need to reach out to geotech or get civil out there to get an understanding of what the land is, how it is currently, then we start from there. Um, there's a lot of processes for new construction on land that's never been touched, but essentially it's you tell the architect what your idea is, what you're wanting, and we help formulate that customized plan for what you're needing to get done. And you look at that plan. If it needs to tweak depending on your budget or your time or whatever that is, we tweak that, and it's an iterative process. And that's the short version of that.
Definitely.
Okay, well said. I love it. I love it. And thank you for reminding us about, that there are architects that are licensed in multiple states opposed to one state. With that being said, DaMichael, my question for you, and then I'm going to move on to, Gena, because I'm sure she has some questions, and then G Holla as well. But my last question for you is, well, first question that is as an investor, what are you looking for to feel like that this will be a wise investment if you are investing into a project or somewhere that you would like to continue to develop?
As an investor, I'm looking for growth population. I'm looking for the commercial developments that surrounds that investment, because commercial developments is what brings the appreciation up. I'm also looking to see if the lot is buildable, like what my man Michael just said. I'm also checking for zoning. I'm checking for comps, and I'm checking for what I'm able to actually build there, or what am I able actually to rehab. And that's all going to depend on my exit plan going into it. So it's a lot of different factors that play a role. The bread and butter is, does it make sense on paper as far as numbers go? If the numbers make sense, that's overall what we look for as investors.
Okay, absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that as well. Gena, if you want to pop in and ask a few questions, please shoot. You look like you might be a little.
Are you able to hear me? Because I
Okay,
know
we
it
can
looked
hear
like
you
the
now.
service blinked out a little bit.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay, so you all have been so successful in your careers. You're growing. It's just ever changing. I want to go to the genesis of your life. What motivated each individual to say, "Hey, I want to get into this business"? What was it that drawn you to this business?
I'll start if that's all right with you guys.
Yes, ladies first.
I I actually it was my dad. He he went to school for industrial design, and so I was able to see him for a period work in CAD on blueprints for different designs for machinery or different projects. And life took a turn, and he was able to become a draftsman for several local architects in Chicago. And from that, I was not only able to see the different Black architects, like Tyree Stovall, who's now in Georgia, and he's retired, but that's an early mentor of mine. Ken Casey, who passed away, but he was another earlier architect that I met and was inspired by. And also just watching my dad doing those floor plans for the architects he was working for. And he would bring me and my siblings to the computer to show us, and we were young, and we're like, Dad, we don't want to see this black screen with blue lines. But I got interested, and I became became more interested in, even though in high school, I was a teacher of mine kind of discouraged my going into architecture, which led me into going into interior design. I still found my way back to architecture. So I really appreciate my dad just exposing me to the work he was doing, even though it was drafts work. It was really important for me to see the initial start of, you can put this on paper and it becomes real, and how we can use that skill to be able to take what we're drawing, because I was already interested in drawing and designing and creating, and learning that I could really make that into a profession and pursue a passion and get paid for it.
Okay, absolutely, absolutely. I love that. I love that. DaMichael, what was some of your upbringing based on Gena's question and your inspiration to get into this field?
Yeah, I would say my inspiration was my grandpa. He was a custom home designer and builder. My three uncles were custom home designers and builders, and my nine aunties were interior designers. So I would say that it's kind of embedded in my bloodline. I grew up on construction sites my whole life. I grew up around, renovations and, family members always, changing designs on their house and things of that nature. And as a young kid, I would find myself watching HGTV, all the time. And, other kids would look at me like I was weird, but, I just always found it real interesting. So, and I was always a hustler at heart. So I always knew that eventually I would land into real estate one way or another. It was just a matter of time. And I knew that my family members, they were more so laborers in the field, and they weren't, the business owner, the investor, and all that. And me being a hustler, I knew that I wanted to be the head of the company. So that's what kind of inspired me to, take the route that I took.
Okay, absolutely. Thanks for sharing that. Michael, I understand that you did speak about your dad, how you grew up in it, but if you can just continue to elaborate on that part.
Yes, definitely. So because I come from that era to where and I think I was groomed. My dad knew exactly what he was doing. So he bought me Legos at a young age. His office was next to my room. Now, before we had computers, my dad had the huge drafting table, and it was the electric eraser, the big drafting light, and paper. And so I would go in there into his office, even when I was a little boy. Daddy, what you doing? And he would just show me just little bits and pieces, little bits and pieces. When I actually went to school, I went to school for graphic design. So the plan around graphic design was me going to school for graphic design. After I came back, and I went to school for drafting, but then my dad was able to take the two. So I literally got to the position to where I was able to take a drawing and build a 3D model out of it. And this is before, this was during the time of SketchUp, when SketchUp was first iteration back in 2006, 2007. Then I would go into Photoshop, and then I would go into Adobe Premiere and make videos and everything else. But I would have to say it started off with my dad ultimately, because I seen it firsthand. I seen the buildings he was designing. I seen everything. Our very first computer was a Commodore 64, which, if you look that up, Commodore 64, it's like in the early 1980s, like 82, 83. So I seen it. I seen drafting go from on paper to computer, to where when he actually had the first drafting program, which I think was AutoCAD 2000. So I seen the transition. I also seen my dad work for multiple firms until he finally branched off and worked on his own, and saw how he partnered with other Black architects and engineers. And then me being able to be in that environment was so influential, because you've seen Black excellence all the way across the board, where all these guys were literally could go into place and design a whole building. And then the collaboration between us as minorities is what they call us when you actually want to do work with the city or with the county. Because the big jobs, we don't get the big jobs. And I think people don't understand the real work. There's a gate kept community when we start talking about architecture and the professional world, which I'm sorry, I don't want to go into that, but my father was the one that literally was the inspiration, who actually happened to be, also as well the vice president of the Association for Black Consulting Architects and Engineers, which I don't know if they're still valid, but there's a lot that went on. And when we go back to the history, he's actually honored here at PV School of Architecture as one of the pioneer architects here in the state of Texas altogether.
I love those answers that you all have given me. And just listening to everyone, it seems like in some point in your life, it was embedded in you, whether it was through family, whether it was through just a long line of generational education towards architecture. So, Ms. Khemberliegh, I have a question for you. Because of the architectural business, and most people would think of it as a male-dominated business. How is it for you to be able to successfully complete your jobs and to do it above and beyond? Like, is there any pros and cons to your experience?
So, yes, it is definitely a male-dominant field, and that was continually told to me throughout my entire journey of becoming an architect. But honestly, so I'm very hard-headed, and when I set out to do something, it gets done. And so I know that about myself. And so hard, because of that nature, I already knew that whatever I needed to do to get it done, it would get done. Um, the the licensing process in itself is not designed for people of color to even pass the licensing exams. I don't know. I'm going off on a side journey really quickly, but standardized tests are not designed for people of color to successfully come out of that. So we have had to teach ourselves to think like the people who have written these tests not for us in order for us to succeed. And that much is the same for these exams. They're written in a way, the language that's used is written in a way that is difficult for us to understand what they're wanting. And so I know when I was even in the test taking journey, having to learn not only just architectural knowledge, but how to think like somebody else so that I could be able to understand the question to even give the answer. So it's always been a challenge to be able to show up and let people see that I have the skills and um the ability to get the job done. But I understood a long time ago that this was this is a part of that journey, and I'm built for that. I cry sometimes. I get frustrated sometimes. I have times that I vent, but I know at the end of the day, I worked very hard to get the um, degrees and the licenses that I have, and I knew I had to get those things in order for me to be able to do the work that I was wanting to do. And it was just that drive. And then the encouragement of my community. I have a really strong community of family and friends that have really uplifted me, given me words of encouragement when I needed that, and just reminded me that to keep pushing and through prayer, because there's definitely times where the profession calls for you to bring that masculine energy into handling the business side of things. When it comes to the creative side and coming up with the plans and things like that, I'm able to operate as I normally do. But when it comes to working with consultants and sometimes clients, you have to have a more aggressive nature. And so it can be difficult at times, but through using a network of mentors. I have a great amount of women mentors and men mentors who have been able to really help me to push forward when things are hard. But yes, it is a male dominant field, and a lot of people say architecture is the old white man's field. And so to be a Black woman in it, I'm proud of myself because I continue to push on and I continue to show up. And I know that my point of view is necessary and essential as we are, as Black people are becoming developers and becoming owners and wanting to get the work done and feel more comfortable with working with people like themselves because we understand each other. And so I'm here for that because I understand that there's a different dialect, a different perspective that I can help bring your ideas into reality because we have that shared background.
I love it. Thank you so much. Oh, sorry about that, y'all. Okay, had a little poop.
Okay.
But I love that so much, and I commend you in everything that you do. All of you all, especially being Black excellence. I love Black excellence, and you all are amazing. We need more individuals such as yourselves in this business, creating communities and stuff to help the betterment of our society. And so, with that being said, I want to introduce Big G Holla of My Celebrity Life to the show. And I'm sure he has some more wonderful questions for you people.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Big G. I was over here being a fan. Excuse me. I found you all some topics, some things that you all said was very dope, very amazing. Like Kim, you talked about your bloodline. And I find it interesting that we got two Michaels. I know it's the Michael on the show because you guys are kind of like archangels. I'm looking at like the symbolism of words and spirituality. And Miss Kim, I don't know if you noticed or not, but your name is actually reflective of one of our greatest cultures on this planet, which was known as ancient Kemet, that they call Egypt today. And those were the original master builders. And I'm just following as you all are talking. And I'm like, man, we're looking at like greatness reincarnated in our time frame. Because we know the original buildings were built based upon the woman. When they say like holy of the holies, they're talking about the womb of the Black woman. All the knowledge that we lost. Even we look in the palms of our hands, we can see where they get the whole master mason from. Like everything that we built in our great cultures, whether it's from Africa to the Americas to every continent, we're looking at right now. And I think it's important for those who see this interview and hear these jewels that they're dropping to let you know that this is our reemergence time right now. We know we're no longer slaves. We have to free our minds and understand we can do anything. Whether you come from the hoods to the woods, your opportunities are all based on who you are in here. And if I could ask of each one of you all to actually speak to the youth out there to let them know we can be more than rappers. There's nothing wrong with rapping, you know what I'm saying? Rap, and then we can build too on the physical aspect. Even if like you all didn't have no help in that sense, where you started from nothing and you created everything. And then in your mind is the whole universe. If only you would believe in yourselves, if only you would pick up and realize who you are, and it's okay to be different. So I'm not giving you a lot. So if I can get from each one of you all, if you could really just talk to the youth of today right now and let them know, yes, it's going to be hard being who you are, but that's what's make the greatest builder of all is to triumph. It's to start from nothing and to start and to build all your greatest monoliths inside your life.
Absolutely. DaMichael, if you could go for it first, kick that off. Thanks for that great question, G Holla.
Yeah, so if I'm talking to the youth, I'm telling the youth first of all to stay focused, to educate themselves on financial literacy at a young age, educate themselves on mindset at a young age, work on emotional intelligence, which is very, very big and something that us as minorities have to master in order to, succeed in the industries that we are in. So I think those are very, very key elements for the youth to get ahead and to become successful and to pursue whatever it is that they're trying to do. I think that you have to believe in yourself, and you also have to invest in yourself. And one of the biggest ways that you should invest in yourself is to go get a mentor, and not just a big homie on the block or the big bro or all that. Actual mentor that you see that's living a life that you actually want to live, that's doing things that you actually want to do, and somebody that you either you pay them with cash, or you figure out a way to pay them, whether it's value for value or whatever it is that you come up with. But make sure that before you get 21, 18, that you invest into a mentor that is living the life that you see yourself living when you get older.
Absolutely, that way. Appreciate that. Michael, if you can continue to expand on what he was just saying.
So what I would say to the youth now is they need to be, with where things are going as far as technology is concerned, where AI is replacing a lot of facets of society that we are, that we're accustomed to. They have to be very mindful that when it comes to construction, architecture, building, design, no artificial intelligence will ever be able to replace that field. And because of that, that actually should be an inspiration to you to be what it's like, because not everybody can create something from their mind and put it on paper. But because that's a gift, those are gifts that are given to us, that happen to be given to us without repentance from the Most High. So when we peel all the layers of the onion back, there are multiple areas when it comes into designing and building. Because and I would reference the late Virgil Abloh. He went to school for architecture, but ended up being the first Black creative director at Louis Vuitton. And if you look at his story, you'll understand how his dad was harping on him for architecture, but he found a design by pivoting and going into fashion design. So there's literally so many areas as a young, again, somebody that's young, that's growing. And I would have to also take some facets from what DaMichael's saying. Getting a mentor is crucial. And a lot of times, because I still have mentors, even for a lot of my work, even though I'm not licensed, I have architects of records that review my drawings and stamp my drawings when I do drawings. I just happen to be blessed to have 3 of them, 3 Black architects over a certain period of time. But all of these guys, with the exception of my dad, are still living. And even though they're retired, they're still practicing architecture. They're still mentoring the youth as we come up. The biggest problem that we're facing is there's a gap between my generation and that next generation, because there is no communication for these guys to go into architecture, building, construction, and where the country is going with all of this new stuff that they're putting out. We better get mindful that we're going to have to come together very quickly, and it's scary. But having been a part of some of the minority inclusion programs that they had for us, once those disappear, you're standing on your own. And what a lot of times people don't realize is a lot of our income as professionals is just as, to put it as blunt as possible, it doesn't come from us. Those guys that are writing the big checks for the professional services, sadly, and we have those people in our communities, but our celebrities, our athletes, all of these guys, they're not buying homes that are designed by Black architects. They're not actually building anything referencing Black architects and professionals and engineers. So for our youth, you're being mindful that this is an area that will never be replaced by AI, and never be replaced by computers, and it's something that you'll actually be able to carry on and pass on to your generation, because this is a level of wisdom that never goes away. Once you learn it, I have to give a shout out to Miss Khemberliegh as well, because I have a colleague that she's actually got her master's in architecture, went to PV. She's got her master's in teaching. She actually works for the #1 architectural firm in the world as well. And I've known her for 17 years, and we still collaborate on projects. So these
I love
relationships
that.
that you build end up being lifelong relationships with these other professionals. And that's another thing I would, try to encourage our youth, because once you get into this field, you start to see the same faces over and over and over, but it's building what's going on right now. But we have to pass that wisdom on to the next generation.
Mm, okay, absolutely, absolutely. And Kim, if you can continue from where he left off and just continue to just give the youth some advice, thanks to that great question by G Holla.
Yes, I a while back I came up with acronym for me to remind myself when things were when I needed that reminder, and it's EAT. So EAT, embrace, amplify, and think. So embrace yourself. You are be authentically you. Everything that you do is necessary. You are here because you are meant to be here, and your point of view and your perspective is necessary, it's essential, and that's why you're here. And so just lean into that. The things you enjoy, lean into that and understand or learn why you enjoy those things, and try and extrude how you can be able to make money off of the things that you enjoy. So that's the embrace. It's always embrace yourself, and that's first. Second is amplify. So use your voice to speak when you need to speak. Use your actions to when your words are not necessary, but you do want to let yourself be known when it's necessary to be known. And that is a really important thing. You're not too young, you're not too small, you're not too insignificant. You are important. You have a significant role in your place in this world, and so you matter. And so the things what you desire, speak it. What you want, speak it, so that it can come to you. Um, so that's the amplify. And then the think. The think is, it's interesting, because when I first thought about this is back when I was in high school. We're in a day and age where we're relying heavily on technology to inform us. We're relying heavily on um, technology to give us what we used to go to books to source. And so really, when you're getting information, you don't just take what someone says as truth. You need to really think, does this make sense to you? Are there holes in this? And ask the questions when things don't make sense. I ask a lot of questions. Sometimes the questions may seem foolish, but it's necessary for me to understand the situation, or for me to understand. And so you ask the questions. You think, does this make sense? Do I need clarity? Don't allow your pride in feeling foolish to keep you from learning what you need to know to get to that next level. And so I would encourage embracing yourself, amplifying what you feel and what you need to speak, because you know in your heart what you need to let out, so let that out. And then think, don't let anyone tell you what truth is. Understand what truth is for yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely. That way, I really appreciate all of you all's um answers and just advice, because that's really going to help drive our youth into a more successful, future. And thanks for reminding everyone about do not rely on AI, because it's definitely all about us. We are the original AIs. You know what I'm saying? We without the artificialness, of course, originality, but we are the intelligence, that part. Um, with that being said, when it comes to just accountability on a project, you know what I mean, where maybe you feel like you made a mistake. Has there ever been a time to where you feel like you made a mistake, and who do you call on? Who do you trust in your life, to where if you have you in a position where you made a mistake, but this project has to get done. Who do you call on that you can trust? And anybody can start with that.
Well, I've got a circle of mentors. I know one of the biggest things, what people don't realize us as professionals is we have to carry certain insurances for certain mistakes, errors and omission, general liability. So what I typically do is I'll have a third party review for anything that's done on top of having an architect of record view work that's done. And what people don't understand is no project goes perfect because nothing in the world is perfect. So there's always going to be something that goes wrong. And we have, as professionals, the architect literally, I guess you say, is the head of the family. We've got to deal with every engineer, structural, MEP, sometimes civil, all the way across the board. We got to bring all of their design together with our design, make it fit, make sure that the structural engineer isn't putting a column right in front of a window where there's a view, making sure his duct work doesn't run through. It's so many things, and they will happen. They happen in the field. So my process is, the biggest thing is being a problem solver because there's always going to be a problem. Whether it's a change order or whether there's a credit where something happens under construction versus on the design side, you get as many eyes as possible to look at it. But then when we try as most as possible to not to make mistakes, because one of the biggest things that people don't understand with architecture is we're dealing with life safety. So it's not just about pretty buildings and everything. You got to be in a structure that's not going to fall on you and kill you or kill a whole bunch of people. So there's got to be an extreme level of seriousness that comes into it, which I think our people don't realize what goes into designing a building and making sure that not only is it something that's aesthetically pleasing, but it's also something that for life safety, you've got a structure that not only is going to protect you from the elements and everything else, but also it's a structure that's going to meet whatever the designated purpose for what it was designed for. So I think that's one of the biggest components, a lot of mentors, a lot of people that we can reference. But one of the big things, what we call in the industry, risk management is at the highest level, only because we have to do that. And mistakes are going to come. And the biggest thing is we try in the field, whether it's we have to modify our design, which is more time on our end, or if we have to change something to fit the actual design based on the space because nothing ever goes right on paper versus what's in the field. It's so much that I could, I hate to ramble on, but that question is such a loaded question that we just have to make sure at the end of the day that as much as possible, we continuously have mentors in the field across the board.
Yeah, now absolutely, absolutely. I knew I was setting y'all up for something deeper by accident. It was it's simple, but that's because again, let me just add before you all continue. I work in construction. I'm actually a newbie. I'm about to actually do my first apprenticeship in construction as a laborer. And so I see things where I work with the electricians and I work with like everyone, what I'm saying, across the board with other laborers, obviously, and contractors and project managers and everyone, what I mean? It's my duty to communicate with everyone. And I saw how someone made a mistake. And as we was pouring concrete and as we was building a concrete staircase and the measurements was all completely off by like a foot. And so it was just like, it was like panic mode, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So with that being said, what I mean, like you say, it's all about insurance to get your back. DaMichael, I'm sorry, if you could, continue to, expand on what he was just saying as well about, mistakes on the job.
Yeah, so to piggyback off of what you said with being on a construction site like that, I think it's important when it comes down to the project management to make sure that you got the right contracts in place for all the subcontractors that's on that job site. And there's verbiage in that contract that holds everybody accountable for any possible mistakes that may happen. And, that falls under the line of risk management. So even as architects, as general contractors, as subcontractors, we all have to hold some type of accountability And we want to make sure that we have verbiage in that contract to where the first person we want to hold accountable is the subcontractor, you know, and then if it get past that, it gets on the GC. If it get past the GC, then it comes down to the architect. And, you know, the architect may try to put it off on a structural engineer or somebody else. But all in all, after that, it comes down to the investor and the owner. So that's kind of like the steps when you're talking about holding people accountable for mistakes that's made on the job site. For me as a investor developer, I made a ton of mistakes. I've learned through all.
Thank you for everyone's patience. He'll be right back. You know, it looks like having a little roaming issue right now. You know what I mean? You know, when these conversations get powerful, you know, the energy be trying to cut us off. You know how
Yeah,
it go.
definitely.
You know how it go. Well, why until you come back, please, Khemberliegh, if you could, you know, continue to just speak on what we're talking about in reference to mistakes on the job and how you handle it for your particular role.
Yeah, so uh typically when I'm working on that project, we most of the mistakes or things that need to be identified is before those projects go out to bid, and we have internal quality control and quality assurance and coordination within our internal team. And then when we have our bid process where we're including contractors, there's a time frame where they can ask questions before a bid is when the client selects the GC, they'll ask us questions, we can clarify and provide information. And then after it gets awarded, that relationship still continues. If they're seeing that there's issues, they get back, they ask us, and we either will show them where the information they need is located in our drawings or specifications, or we go back to the drawing board and say, hey guys, we made a mistake. Found that it is best to, you know, we're prideful, but that take out that ego and realize when things need to be addressed. If that mistake is on me, then I'll go to my boss, or I'll go and be like, okay, this was something that I realized I didn't do or needed to get done. And depending on the phase that we're in, it's something that's assumed, you know, again, human error, and we can fix that. When you wait, or you're too prideful to acknowledge that, and you're like, oh, I'm just gonna wait and see what happens, it becomes so much more than it needs to be. So just owning up to when there's a mistake or when there's something that you notice that needs to be addressed, to go to the right person to then identify how to uh, correct the issue. But always speaking on it is better than knowing that there's something wrong and not saying it. But within a construction process, we have so many checks and balances that it allows for very minimal situations where it's at the end of the project and the patron comes and there's a mistake. At that point, that shouldn't be a problem. But yeah, luckily through that iterative process that I talked about earlier, you're able to identify all the things that need to be corrected. And then with all the people that are on these different teams and third party people, we're able to help each other and identify and call out things that we have questions on, don't make sense, there's clashes, and we can be able to resolve those.
Perfectly well said. And I can understand how things can be very detrimental if you wait too long, depending on, you know, as you let too many levels and phases pass. With that being said, you know, Gena, if you could, you know, please go ahead. I know you have some more questions.
I actually
Be my
do.
guest.
I actually do. I love being a part of this panel. I love the melanin. I love the education. I love the spirit of the way this is going. So my question would be for each individual panelist. And that's with every accomplishment, everything that you worked so very hard for, all the trials and tribulations, that you went through, especially being in a predominantly white field, where, as the young man said before, even the celebrities of color work with more of the non-person of color. With everything that you're doing, what is it that you want to be known for?
Yeah, go ahead, DaMichael,
All
please.
right, I'll go ahead. I want to be known for designing luxury homes, modern luxury homes. I want to be known for educating and mentoring my people and getting my people in industries that we're not supposed to be in. I want to be known as a father, a husband, and also of a person that advocates for change for our community for the better good.
I love that.
Perfect, perfect. Yes. Thank you. That's a great question, Gena, by the way. Khemberliegh, what would you like to be like based on she was just asking?
That's a hard one. That's a hard one. Cause at one point I wanted to be I wanted to have a legacy of significant buildings throughout the world that I was the architect and main architect. I've always had the I enjoy being celebrated. And so the idea of having a legacy of buildings that I knew I designed, and people can go throughout the country and throughout the world and be like, oh yes, Kim did this, Kimberly did that. As I have matured and I have kids now, I really want to be known for the impact that is being made on the youth and the encouraging change of how we look at design. So not just the end work. I really want to be known for helping pivot architecture in becoming more of community related, more going back to our indigenous architecture, going forcing us to stop idolizing this one view of architecture and one understanding of what is beautiful and what is considered traditional, and change that script. And so we're not there yet. We're at the beginning of that journey, but I really want to impact just the way we look at architecture at the
Mhm.
base. When we think of the big architects, who are the people that come to mind? I want that list to be more dynamic. I want there to be women that are easily named, like Norma Scarlark and Dina Griffin and some of my colleagues like Imani Day. Like I want these names to be, and my own, to be labeled when someone says, what are some great architects? I want it to be of people more of color, and I want the understanding of architecture to to look differently. And I want to be remembered for helping make that change.
You go, girl. I'm definitely gonna be praying to the Most High God, Supreme Being, for all of you all. I want that so much. I want to see that. I want to feel that. At the end of this show, I need all your information because I want to definitely run it on my commercials. I want to definitely be a part of that as far as reaching out. Okay, and so what about you? We have one more person that I would love to know, Mr. Michael. What is it that you would like to be known for?
Well, because I feel like I'm already carrying a legacy. So I want to continue. I wanted to continue with my three sons. I want to make sure them and then those that I can impact as well in the community. I do remember when I was in kindergarten, and I actually, I remember my father coming to the school and him taking a big old board and building a structure with popsicle sticks and how all the
Mhm.
kids were fascinated with it. And so when my daughter was in the third grade, I happened to be working on an elementary school project. And then I brought plans to the school and I explained to those kids in the school what was going on with the plans and everything else. And of course, these are kids of all denominations, but we do really need our young kids, especially the young Black men that have these gifts and talents. They need to realize that not only is it there, sometimes they don't know, and it's just not like Kimberly was saying. They make the test so hard. I have colleagues that have that literally have full blown firms right now, and what they are doing because they the amount of time it takes to pass the actual test, and you still have to eat. And there's so many stories that I can go through where understanding a lot of these guys, they're literally going the route of getting architects of record. They building out their firms. They understand the work. My colleague, he's taken the test like 6 times, and his structures, all of them he passed, but structures is the one. And like she says, it's done on purpose. There's a gentleman that's reached out to me and DaMichael, who actually I want to share the information with everybody. He actually did a documentary on the architects that built the homes of the civil rights leaders. He
Wow.
actually this in the 1940s. Now there's a gap there because there was when integration happened. And I just, like I said, there's a lot of history that I have.
Yes.
My late father was one of them.
Mhm.
I still have the paper in 1966 where he was
Mhm.
one that they pulled out the black school and they integrated him
Mhm.
into the other school, and
Mhm.
they only took at that time they only took the top 5.
Mhm.
But then when he graduated at the top of the school, they refused to give it to him. They
Mhm.
made him second, and they had to give it to another person. So like, there's no way this young Black man is coming from Black education into
Mhm.
this school, and he's literally what I don't know if they call what they call it, summa cum laude or whatever they call you when you're
Hmm.
your GPA whatever is number 1 in the school, whatever that is. But
Yeah.
understanding that that was the education that we had when we were educating our own exceeded well beyond what the schools were giving them at that time. And there's living proof of that. So I definitely want to be one to, as much as possible, like Kimberly and DaMichael was saying, being able to
Mhm.
give back to our community and pass
Mhm.
down to where they're like, you know what?
Mhm.
That man, he gave me so much information, and then who knows, that person becomes great, and then they reference you as a mentor. But I also
Mhm.
like Kimberly said, don't give up, Kimberly. I'm building structures. I want something on my name. The building that I
Mhm.
built and designed. You know what? 10 years, 100 years from now, you know what? Mike Buster Jr. designed that. And then the kids are able to
Mhm.
say, my daddy designed that. And then the
Mhm.
grandkids are able to say, my great great grandfather designed that.
Right.
Mhm.
Don't give up on that. It
Mhm.
just takes one.
That's
Um,
right.
and so sorry, but that's my inspiration. I feel like I've been given a legacy, and then I have
Mhm.
to now continue not only with just my sons, but
Mhm.
anybody that I have the opportunity to share what I've been given.
Mhm.
That's what I want to do.
Now, you just struck a chord with me because we hit some topics. I've been holding back on some of these topics, but I have to bring up Big G Holla because you talked about a lot of culture and a lot of history in our Black communities, and he is the Don to those. And I know he got some questions that he want to hit you all with. Big G, are you on?
Oh, I am.
I felt when he said that about the cultural diversities, I said, okay, where Big G at? Big G, get him. Get him, Big G.
I appreciate it. Like we were speaking of earlier, we was talking about our cultural influence all around this planet. Because when we take it all the way back to the beginning, it's this thing called Pangea, where all the land masses was one. So if you want to look at all this land as being Africa or Akabulan or Gaia, we can take clue to that, because we can see that we were connected ever since the very beginning of the origin of this planet. We've been here building, and we know that a lot of our great architects, which all of the bloodlines are, when we look at what they call the obelisk in Washington D.C., or we look at the obelisk in the Vatican City, we now know that represents Osiris, or Sar, his phallus. So now we see that our great bodies are the greatest representations on this planet, whether it's still hidden or people are, not knowing of it. I like to know if each one of you all, like we talked about before, the Holy of Holies, which represents the Black woman's womb. Even when we look at these domes from up top, it actually has, no offense to anyone, it actually has it looks like a nipple. So now that we know that the temple of man and the temple of woman, and they always refer to buildings as she, just like ships. And we know that inside of this matrix, which is a womb, which is also referring back to the Black woman, because she is the original genealogy that started on this planet, that is known as, they call her Lucy, but there's another African name I can't pronounce it, so I don't want to mess it up. So
Talk
with
that
all
stuff,
that great
G.
knowledge, Mhm.
Talk that stuff, G. You on it.
With all that great knowledge that we know that's embedded in us, and sometimes it turns on, it gets activated when we got great folks like yourselves out here creating. Do each one of you all, have you considered, or do you put your signature designs into all of everything that you built? Because like you spoke of before, in the future, we're going to go, oh, that's Miss Khemberliegh design. That's DaMichael right there. That's Michael. And y'all are creating the wonderful lineage of what we started from in the beginning. Even though it may be lost at the conscious level, subconsciously, we are still rulers of all these lands, no matter what name you want to put on it. We just been hit in the head. We've been struck. We done forgot. We wobbling, but we're coming back when we got great folks like yourself. So my question is, do you all put any type of signature designs in your architect so we'll know that's you all in the future?
100%. Is it cool if I take this one?
Yeah, you can
Please,
start it,
please
bro.
go
Got
for it, my brother.
it.
Yeah. So
Great question, G. Holla.
I definitely try to put a signature in everything that I design. So a lot of properties I did, if anybody kind of knows of me, if they ride by it, they can guess and say that I had something to do with the design over there. One of my signatures that I like to use is I put dog showers in almost every single house that I design. And I get creative with them in a whole bunch of different aspects. So that has become one of my signatures on the interior. And one of my signatures on exteriors is I like to go crazy with landscaping and hardscape, and a lot of masonry and things of that nature. So it almost comes natural as an architect and a designer that we're putting some type of touch on every single thing that we touch, whether it's color schemes that we like to use, entryways, whatever it may be. Another thing I want to touch on to clarify out there, that when a lot of people think about architects, they think all architects are designers, and they're not. A lot of architects out here are just people that are good with computers, but they don't really have a sense of design. So I would like to say that in order for an architect to have a sense of design, that key element, it has to come from God. It has to come, you have to have some type of natural talent for design. So I just want people to be mindful when they out here trying to hire architects or they're dealing with architects. Don't just assume that they're going to give you the best design, because some architects are not designers. So that's my take on that.
Well, thank you
Okay,
for
appreciate you sharing that.
So I can say my signature. Now, one of the things I do in a niche field, I go towards modern design. So, and when I deal with modern design, I deal with neutral. I try to deal with neutral colors and let the colors of the actual materials be colors. I don't like to paint walls. I like to use wood. I like to use stone. I like to use things that are part of natural, that are nature, and bring that into the design as far as wood, like I said, wood, stone, glass, stainless steel, marble, porcelain, but the variations of those colors and using the natural veinage of those colors through creation. That is, so my signature, I only do when I do private residences there, I only do modern, ultra modern. I pick out and I do design, no, because I truly design everything from the interior to the exterior, all the way down to the details that go on the baseboard. And I oftentimes, like DaMichael was saying, sometimes when you're gifted with something, it's a gift for you. You just look at it and you be like, okay, that doesn't look right. And you change it to where it looks right. But for all my design signature, you're going to know anything that is going to be modern, and it's going to be a mix of modern materials all the way across the board. And that could be seen in a couple of the modern houses that I've done, ultra modern. And then I've actually had to take some and modernize them based off of a client's vision and still give them semi-modern, but also use contemporary elements, because we could get into all types of discussions of what modern is and what contemporary design is and what eclectic design is, going all the way across the board. But for me, the signature is modern design. And when I deal with modern, I deal with lines, linear and non-linear and a few radiuses. Not to sound so technical, but with that combination, you can come up with things that are beautiful, that are appeasing to the eye, that are not as complex, but they're simple, but they're complex in design, which oftentimes people don't understand. Some of the simplest designs require some of the most complex engineering, which is why oftentimes you don't see that modern house in the middle of the city and everything. And there's a lot that goes on in the buildings where you have to hide, where with certain modern designs, you can't hide anything. It has to be done correctly. So that would be my signature to answer your question.
Can I ask you a question? I want to ask Mike a question.
Yes.
How do you, because I do a lot of modern stuff too, how do you incorporate trying to make the house feel homey, but still keep that ultra modern touch?
So for me, when it comes to, and when I do design, I go all the way through. So when you bring in the furniture, you bring in your colors with the furniture, you bring in the colors with all your, natural plants. That's, to me, is the best, my best solution is when you bring in natural greenery inside the home, implement a lot of glass that is not, hopefully you have nature views. That's my, that's my approach into bringing that in, especially with the furniture. You can bring in colors with the furniture and then the texture of the furniture as well.
Okay, absolutely. Please, sorry. Thank you for your patience, Khemberliegh. And if you could also answer G Holla question when it just comes to, what he was speaking about your signature.
Yes. So, my signature, I prefer my design style, my personal design style, which is a mix of maximalism and Afrocentric styles. You can see some of the artwork that I have up in the greenery. Also, I have a mixture of patterns and prints and colors. But when I work on projects for my clients, honestly, I understand that there are some times where it's about identifying what they like and what their vision is and what they want, and then I'll pull from there what their style is, and take that and make it what it needs to be for the space. So I don't always put my own design style into the projects, because sometimes it's better served for them to highlight theirs. And I think now I think that is one thing that I like about my design approach, is that I'm able to see the style of my clients and being able to make that become the vision that they want. I know sometimes clients will come to me and they're like, what is your style? What can we expect? And while I can share with them my personal style, let them know that, when you're working on projects, especially not just residential projects, but commercial, everything isn't always about myself. It's about picking out and identifying, customizing what you enjoy, what you like. Um, the firm we're with now, we actually start with a song. So you tell us what's your favorite song, or a song that inspires the project, and we take that, and from that song we extrude the vision of that project. And my personal design style has been looking at that from a dancer perspective, because I used to dance ballet, and so I've always had a connection to movement and understanding movement within a space and in an interior, and how to take that idea and extrude it to for a design. And so it so happens that music and the dance that marries each other. So I'm really enjoying the projects that I take on now, and the approach that I have. It always starts with this understanding of a spark of a song or a spark of movement to help navigate the style within the space.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely, absolutely. Again, great question. To be able to, cipher all of that from all of them, G Holla. I want to just say this, please. I want to say thank you for everyone's time, information, education. This has been a golden and magnificent interview and conversation, just a panel. You know what I mean? Man, I couldn't ask for anything more, on this Thursday. I'm just very grateful. I want to say that. I want to say I'm very grateful and thankful for all of you all's time. Big salute to all of you all. And I want to just kind of end this in a prayer and just saying that, I want to just continue to pray over all of you all's family. Like you say, when you building these infrastructures, that they're safe and that you all are safe out there and in always protected and covered, by the Most High. And continue to just send my blessings to you all and your family and everyone on here. I'm just grateful and thankful for everyone. And you definitely have my support, G Holla support, and of course Gena Heelz support. Please don't be shy to reach out to us if you like to have like any updates, whether we all collectively can be a part of it or just individually if you feel more comfortable on either their platform, which Gena represents life and entertainment. And as we close this out, Gena, if you can remind them how they can support your platform. We're just gonna kind of go around the board. But Gina, please, remind people how they can support you and your platform and your closing statements.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me, your girl Gena Heelz, on the I Said It Management TV show. I'm Gena Heelz of Life and Entertainment, and you can support me at www.lifeinentertainment.com. And also, I pray you all so many blessings in abundance.
Amen. G Holla, please, any closing statements and as well, and how you can remind them how they can support your platform.
First of all, thank you, you all very much for being on this interview. Thank you, I said in management, Gena Heelz, DaMichael, Michael, and also Kimber. The great thing about our platform, My Celebrity Life, we do cover celebrities, but we also get like in depth with deep knowledge and wisdom and understanding. So we got a little bit of something for everybody, whether you show up for the entertainment or you show up for the education. And from time to time, we're able to mix a little bit of education with entertainment and try to hopefully make it the best. But my website is gholla.media and thegholla.com. Right now we're streaming about 20 million on Roku TV, Amazon Fire, and different streaming platforms. with all that knowledge and information and celebrity culture that we're showing. Thank you all once again. I pray that all your families be well, that your light be forever shine upon this planet. And long after we're gone, someone will be able to discover all of you all great works that you've left out here into this multiverse, this matrix system, this infinite zone. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much, G. Holla. You know what I mean? Khemberliegh, please, in closing statements, could you just please share how, once again, as we close the show out, how people can support you and, just, anything else you'd like to say briefly, please.
Sure. I think if you're needing to hire an architect, I encourage you to go on NOMA, NOMA, .com or .org to source a person of color in your area, an architect, and get connected through your local NOMA chapter. I really encourage that. And that's for students who are looking for internships, for mentorship, for programming, and for professionals or people who are seeking professionals. I think that is a great resource. Again, you can reach me through IG K_BRITTAN, K_Brittan. And I'm open and always welcoming mentors and mentoring opportunities, connections for different projects. And yeah, just connecting, just making community, because it takes all of us to make that change. And I'm excited for, despite where we are, where the fear people have politically, I think it just makes us stronger. That's what we do. When everyone else is concerned and scared, we gather forces and we make things happen. So I am sure that in this time that we can continue to do that and rely on each other to be able to achieve the goals that we have, and make things happen, and not relying on other people, just making it happen through us.
Absolutely, absolutely. Salute. Please, if you could continue on DaMichael.
Yeah, I want to
and
say
remind them how they can support.
I appreciate everybody having me here. This was a wonderful experience. Looking forward to getting the message out there and getting people more involved in the community, educating people about real estate and architecture. You guys can follow me on Instagram at 3D Visions _. That's 3D Visions _. And that's what I got for y'all.
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate you, brother. And then Michael, please.
Yes, I'm just grateful for the opportunity to be in the room with a bunch of like-minded professionals and um, our culture. Again, you can follow me at Penny_the1. I am working on that. Social media is I'm so new to social media, and oftentimes I realize the way the world is going is we do have to get that out there. One of the things DaMichael and Khemberliegh can say, we do so much in terms of receipts and work on projects and everything that it just becomes second nature to us. And sometimes we want to be mindful that we're able to showcase that, because oftentimes there'll be work across the city and you won't even know that it was done by a Black architect, or and oftentimes within our professional field, it's a day-to-day, something that's day-to-day, not knowing that in our history it was celebrated when something like that was done and it's accomplished. And we see all this stuff, all the other cultures put emphasis on. And I do understand that's something we're going to have to focus on as well, to be like, hey, you know what? No, Khemberliegh, she did that. She did the interior design for that. No, that's a DaMichael signature home. Okay, no, he did that design for that structure. I think we actually, as a people, do need to focus on that, because that gives these children, the next generation, something to say, you know what? Because there's all types of signatures. And I think that's one that as professionals, we might have to pick up on our end too, because the young people, they're seeing everything. They're seeing the athletes, they're seeing a lot of our entertainers, but then as professionals, they don't see anything from us. We do it on a day-to-day basis, but they don't see it. So I would want to leave out with, hopefully I can have that type of impact. And, again, you can reach out to me on social media. I'm new, but I answer everything. As you can say, Michael, we had a lot because I had a lot going on, but we did make it happen. So that's all I've got there.
Absolutely, absolutely. Again, thank you so much for you all sharing everything. And it's been a pleasure. Like I say, and this does not take anything away from Khemberliegh, but it's definitely a pleasure as well to be able to share this platform with two other Michaels today. Me being a Michael, my name is Isaidit, but my original name is Michael. And so I'm the second of my dad. I just have to put that out there since G Holla had highlight that, with the Michael Arch angle, and everything like that. But I wouldn't be me being a person who is all about networking if I did not personally invite you wherever you are in the world to my next event, because I honor extraordinary Black women in our community. This is something that I do. And so my next event is going to be actually March the 8th here in Chicago, Illinois. You all are definitely invited if you have it in your schedule. If you can fit in your schedule, that is, to be able to make it and come support. I would definitely love for you to be there. And so it's actually my 6th Tribute to Women event tour. And this is where, again, I celebrate our extraordinary Black women in our community. I do this independently. I'm the sole proprietor of this event here in Chicago. And it's also an awesome fashion show along with the music showcase, no rap music. And so I'm just excited, and that's what I look forward to. And it's all about networking, again, bringing all our people together. And again, big salute to you all. God bless you. And of course, if anybody asks, I said it that way. Enjoy you all's day. May you all be safe with your travels out there. You know what I mean? And if you need anything, please just ask. And it's been, an ultimate experience with all of you all. And thank you so much, G Holla. Thank you so much, Gena Heelz Life and Entertainment, for being here and support of what we were doing today as we celebrate our Black entrepreneurs, our Black architects, those in real estate and developers, and with interior and exterior today. Thank you so much, Miss Khemberliegh. Thank you so much, Mr. DaMichael, and thank you so much, Mr. Michael. Appreciate you. One love.
Well, no, thank you.
Have a good one.
Bless you. You all too. Peace.